with all this talk in recent weeks with some of these graders making mistakes, Beckett changing their grading scale, PSA damaging cards on arrival, a hot topic has been how these companies can create more value for us as customers. And I'm going to take you through that today and talk through a few interesting things regarding graders' notes. Now, when people talk about getting more value for us as consumers in this space, they'll typically talk about, reduction in prices, increasing, security of slabs, which is, incredibly important. And we've seen some inroads with regards to what TAG do and what PSA do now with their Lighthouse technology and things like that. But graders' notes, in my opinion, is a really quick way for them to create a lot of value for both buyers, sellers, and collectors. I just said both. There's three things there. Overnight by doing this sort of thing, right? And if you're not sure what graders' notes are, it's essentially, what these graders will fill out when they're actually assessing your card. It's the information that substantiates why your card got a certain grade. Now, most of these graders use what's known as a 4-eye check, sometimes a 6-eye check, and that means you've either got a minimum of, you got a minimum of, 2 people looking at every single card, or a third person might come in to be the deciding factor. And what happens is they'll fill out these notes, they'll then, put their numbers into the system, they get compared, and then obviously they go with, the more accurate grade. But these notes really never see the light of day, and I think that's a really big shortfall for the, graded card industry, because that creates so much more value and so much more comfort within the process. Because how many times have you maybe, submitted a card, or a friend has, and you get it back and it's a PSA 7? We've seen a lot of this with Lootbox TV in recent weeks, where they've got some cards back that they're really questioning why it got a certain grade. They can't figure it out. These notes, will tell you immediately why you got a grade that you did, right? And it might also very quickly tell you why this grader, or how this grader made a mistake, how they misjudged something. Sometimes you can get cards overgraded by accident or undergraded. So this would be a really good way to give comfort to you, as a user, right? Because you can spot, okay, well, that's why I must have missed this when I submitted the card. It's got damage to the edge or the corner. Or if there's a pretty big PC card that you want to go out to buy and you want to know why it got a 7 as an example, or why it got a 10, you could quickly search up in the pop report and see, well, hang on a minute, this card got a 7 for this reason. Okay, I can't crack it and re-slab it and try and push for a higher grade. Or this PSA 10, it has some chipping there. Do we think that this is maybe overgraded? Like, that kind of thing will help you make your decision as a buyer, and in my opinion, create a lot of value. To give you some context, this is nothing new for the graded industry, because we've seen CGC do this for comic books, for many years. If I recall, when I was big into comic books, I want to say like 10 years ago, I'm sure this used to be a $5 fee. Checking it out now, it looks like it is made available for free rather than paying that $5 that I just alluded to. Now, this is really important from a comic book perspective, because you don't just have two surfaces that you're grading, right? You have, the front and the back of the book, the inside of the covers, each individual page, so on and so forth, staples, all these kinds of things that, the graders' notes make a big difference when you're coming to buy something for your PC, or you're buying something to, invest in. It gives you that additional comfort. And I think this is a relatively easy thing for, graders in the sports card space and in the trading card space to try and implement and create more value for us, because they're already doing this as part of the grading process. And if PSA want to charge you $2 as an example to get this done, I don't think that's, a bad thing. If PSA, want to charge, maybe make it free for the owner, but then if you want to be a prospective buyer, maybe charge you $2 every time you want to access it, or you can have it stored in your vault, which cards you've got the certs for, or you've paid for grading notes in the past. I'm okay with that. Ideally you want it to be free and you want it to be given to you when you submit your cards, but if they want to make some money off the back of it, go ahead and do it. As long as you give people the opportunity to access this information if they want it, or prospective buyers access it if they want it. Or maybe make it free for Collectors Club members, but if you're not one of those, you have to pay for it. I just think it's a really cool thing and a really simple way for them to give more comfort to the service they're already giving. I can't recall if I already mentioned, it would also maybe highlight mistakes that graders are making, which is maybe why they're hesitant to do that. But, as I've explained in the past many times, I don't think anybody gets angry at these graders for making a mistake, right? Because if you can prove they made a mistake, that's a good thing for them, in the sense that they're going to say, okay, we stuffed this up, how can we be better moving forward? But by them, hiding this sort of stuff, I don't think it's a good thing at all. And you never learn, and that's why you see these things, perpetuate, right? It goes to some of these things about in the past where people have had, cards lost, and PSA want to have them sign an NDA so they won't talk about it. It's like, guys, if you're shutting down the voice, how can you expect to be better? You need the pressure, you need the accountability from customers. And I know I just went on a bit of a tangent right now, but graders' notes are really important. I'm really keen to get your thoughts on this, down in the comments below. This video is a quick one today. I hope you did enjoy it. Please share your thoughts, because I think it's, a really important thing. And I think it's going to be something we see from graders in the next 6 months. I'm probably willing to bet on that, to be honest, because it's such a simple way. I've seen people talk about it here and there, but with all this pressure from these graders, on these graders, I should say, all these mistakes they're making, they're expanding to doing so much more volume than they've ever done before. This is a really simple way for them to create more value for us as customers, not really impact on their business process all that much because they're already doing it. And it's also potentially another revenue stream for them as well. I don't think SGC or BGS do this. I'm very certain that PSA don't do this. But again, you guys, you want to create more value, you want to be innovative. This is where you start with the basic things that don't impact on your day-to-day business operations. I've talked before how I work in external audit. I also, work in the tech and innovation space within that. And the way when I'm, presenting opportunities to clients or engagement teams and things like that, it's all about creating opportunities through your existing business processes, using, the data and the opportunities and the processes that you have today to create more revenue and value for, your customers and for your business operations, right? This is a really simple way for them to do that, because like I said, they're already doing it. So let's monetize it. Let's create more value for us as customers and collectors. Now, I know I'm talking in circles here, but some of you might say, well, if they make it free, how does that monetize, or how does that improve their revenue streams? Well, you need to think, if they're going to do it overnight, and this is something that entices more people to use their service because they think it's quite valuable, that then means what? They're getting more customers, which means they're generating more revenue. Not everything has to be, a direct sale. You don't have to make a profit on every single thing that you do. You can use things as what's known as loss leaders and things like that, where you sell things at a loss, so on and so forth, to try and get more revenue in the door is essentially where I'm getting at. I'm ranting now. I'm talking in circles. Hope you liked the video. Please, drop a comment, drop a like. Let me know your thoughts on this, because I think it's a really good way for these guys to make us, more value. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.